when we first try alcohol as kids, it doesn't actually taste good. We usually don't like it, and it's an adopted taste.
Hi, I'm Henry, and I'm here today with Sophia. Hi, Sophia.
Hi, Henry.
You wake up at 5 a.m. and you also don't drink any alcohol, right?
That's right.
So which came first?
They actually both happened quite close together, but I started waking up at 5 first.
Can you tell us the story behind you waking up at 5?
So I read this blog post by a guy named Henry who talked about the benefits of waking up at 5 in the morning and how your body responds better or functions better earlier in the day. You're fresh and full of energy, and you're more productive and accomplish more. And I actually thought of myself always as a night owl, but I read this inspiring blog post and I decided to give it a go. And so I did a little experiment and I started waking up at 5. I adjusted my bedtime to go to sleep earlier to make sure I still feel refreshed in the morning. And I've been doing it ever since.
How did you go from night owl to early bird?
I made it a point to always be in bed by 10, and I fall asleep really easily. So I would be asleep. If I'm in bed by 10, I'd be asleep by about 10:05. So that made it easier. And I would have an alarm for 5 in the morning, and I feel like it went pretty smoothly. As long as I got my 7 hours of sleep, I was able to be consistent every day. I would add that another thing that helped me is kind of committing to a specific wake-up time ahead of time. So instead of questioning every morning at 5 a.m. when my alarm would go off, whether I'm going to do it today or not, or go back to sleep, because I committed to myself that this is something I'm going to do, every morning when the alarm goes off, I don't question it. I just do it because I told myself that this is something I'm doing.
You try to get to bed at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do anything before then to kind of get ready for bed?
I try to not work in the evenings, not be on my laptop, and not have that bright light, which definitely helps kind of settle down. I like listening or playing some like soothing music. I've been trying the meditation app Calm, which has a lot of like bedtime stories and music that I like to have in the background. I also dim my lights and have candles on and kind of set that mood.
What do you do in the morning?
So my days vary. Some days I have a long commute that's about an hour and a half, and some days I have a 30-minute commute or less, depending on the day of the week. So on the days where I have a long commute, I just go to the gym. I get back from the gym by 6:30, and I shower, get ready for work, and catch the Caltrain to work. On the days that I have more time in the morning, same gym routine, and I actually alternate between going to the gym and running and yoga. So on some of the days, 3 days a week, I'll go to yoga from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And if I have time after, I'll typically read or kind of do some nice like morning routine, like have tea and get ready for work slowly and kind of enjoy my morning and maybe catch up on news or catch up on phone calls to my family kind of across the world.
So with this new schedule, do you have any social life?
Yes, I definitely have a social life. I try to stack my kind of late night social activities for Fridays and the weekend, and I do always prioritize getting my 7 hours of sleep. So if I go out later on the weekend, I still make sure I will wake up later and I make sure that I have my 7 hours of sleep. So on the weekends, I'm less structured with a 5 a.m. wake up, but I stick to it on weeknights, and on weeknights, I definitely try to go to bed by 10. And if I have social things going on, I'll make sure to end them before then.
In your previous drinking life, were you more of a wine person, beer person?
I was everything person. Definitely like my wine, liked my cocktails. I would have beer here and there, but yeah.
How did you go about quitting alcohol?
I quit drinking after reading a book that a friend of mine recommended that he read and quit drinking after. The book is called This Naked Mind by Annie Grace. It's about alcohol and kind of the negative factors of alcohol. And it goes through all of the chapter by chapter through the preconceptions about alcohol and kind of how our society and how we think about it. And it debunks a lot of myths.
Please do share some of like the top 2 or 3 takeaways.
One of the chapters was about how the myth of alcohol tastes good. And that was one of the things I would say in the past that, but I love the taste of alcohol. And the author, she talks about how when we first try alcohol as kids, it doesn't actually taste good. We usually don't like it, and it's an adopted taste. And that's why we add a lot of sugar to our cocktails and syrups, and that's why we take shots quickly, because it doesn't actually taste good. So that was like an interesting realization that sounds like really obvious once you hear it, but it wasn't as obvious before I read that. And then another one of my favorites, kind of favorite takeaways, was how we have this like preconceived notion that in order to have fun, or we have to be drinking alcohol, or alcohol is very closely tied to social activities. And the author talks about how in reality we have fun. The fun comes from the social interactions and from spending time with those people, our friends or our coworkers, or the activity that we're doing, not really from alcohol. And she provides some scientific kind of backing to why alcohol actually decreases the amount of fun we can have, and the length of the interactions and the quality of the time that we're having. And so that impacted me strongly. And since I've stopped drinking, I actually feel the difference as well. I'm able to have more fun longer with my friends, as opposed to kind of, becoming numb throughout the night, with alcohol.
What was that quitting process like?
It was actually really easy because the book makes such a convincing case for it. In the past, when I would take like a month off or 2 months off from drinking, and I always felt like I was missing out. I would stop doing certain social activities because I felt like, oh, everyone's going to be drinking and I won't be, and I'll be missing out. But after reading this and kind of adopting this new perspective, I don't feel like I'm losing anything. I still engage in all the same social activities that I would otherwise.
What do you drink instead?
My go-to has become tonic and lime, and it looks like a cocktail, so nobody questions it, and I like the taste.
What's kind of like next for you?
I am trying to eat better. I feel like it's pretty hard in today's world to know what's good, and there's so many good for you and for your health in terms of nutrition, and there's so many competing theories and diets and ideas, and it's also hard to know what's in your food that we're consuming and how it's made. So I'm trying to educate myself better around food and nutrition and clean up my diet as well.
That's all the questions I had. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Henry.